Hello, everyone. Welcome on Spreaker.com, K-E-V-O-L-E, Soundcloud.com, K-E-V-O-L-E, Spreaker.com, K-E-V-O-L-E, as I said, Facebook Live, Twitter at K-E-V-O-L-E, also on YouTube, Kevin Olenick. And I recognize here that I want to precursor this by saying I may come off as a prude or a uber religious person or one of those conservative weirdo types. We're going to talk about pornography, and I'm going to bring up some statistics. But I do think that this is, when was digging up the research for this, the more and more that I saw, the more and more I did think that this was an important conversation. And I kind of think it's an important thing to unpack, because it is more popular. Pornography right now is more popular than ever before. And there's an article that I was reading on Forbes magazine. It's Pornhub's 2017 year in review. Pornhub has averaged 81 million visitors per day. That's 28.5 billion visitors for the year, with 24.7 billion searches performed. That is 50,000 searches per minute, 800 per second. The global community was active as well, with over 4 million videos totaling 595,492 hours uploaded. If you were to actually, this is a quote from the Forbes article, by the way, if you were to watch that much porn in a continuous fashion, your eyes would be locked onto the screen for 68 years. Now, you can think that's really cool, or there may be some of you that think that this may be a problem. So that's your prerogative, first of all. What I didn't say in these numbers, and what these numbers are not showing, is the age group. Because it's not just us adults accessing porn, it's kids. And we also know that there's a lot of options. And it does seem to have a societal impact. As an example, there is a recent survey from Australia of 15 to 19-year-old girls that revealed that 51% believe girls feel social pressure to share naked images of themselves online. And there are some that believe that up to 90% of boys before the age of 18 are watching porn. Interesting correlation there. I don't know what to think of that. I'll leave that up to you, what you think of that. Now, let's just open the gates here, because let's reveal the fact that it's based on the numbers that we saw. We all have watched porn at some point in time. I'm not here to judge you on that. We've all done it. And there we are. That's fact. And our media viewing habits have certainly been actually impacted by the porn industry. As an example, back in 2006, there was a battle between VHS and Betamax. And the porn industry preferred VHS. And Betamax became obsolete and died almost overnight. HD Blu-ray online streaming technology also impacted in part by what the adult industry wanted. The industry is very lucrative and very powerful, and the content can be accessed and is being accessed anywhere at any time. A laptop, smartphone, gaming device. Sony PlayStation is dominated with 56% of the gaming traffic. And if you're also interested, on a worldwide scale, millennials ruled the porn viewing landscape. Ages 25 to 34 accounted for 32%. Not to be left out, the 65 plus demographic accounted for 4%. The top search for terms for ages 18 to 24 was lesbian, while both the 25 to 34 and 35 to 44 groups searched for Japanese the most. The question that I'm bringing forward here, is it time to limit the access to porn for minors? Now, conservative MP Arnold Viersen is suggesting that we do limit that. He is suggesting, in light of the Me Too allegations, he thinks that the barriers preventing underage Canadians from accessing porn need to be beefed up. And he is suggesting that we limit this. Now, there's a screening on Parliament Hill of a documentary called Swift Current, which is a film about the abuse of former NHLer Sheldon Kennedy by his coach Graham James. That happened a number of years ago, and Sheldon Kennedy has been sharing his story about that. Darren Fleury also shares his story about that. And the MPs will be watching the films and be hearing remarks from the victims of abuse. And Kennedy is also what spoke at the press conference today, as well as Viersen, and he's quoted as saying, "Abuse is abuse, and it's about abuse of power." Viersen said he believes that sexual harassment and assault allegations that have emerged in recent years are clear examples of this. He points out that if you look at the Ghomeshi story, if you look at some of the recent stories, he uses as an air quote as a porn script. And Liberal MP Pam Damoff said Viersen's focus on online sexual violence ignores the fact that sexual harassment and abuse has existed for much longer than the internet. Now, I actually would have to agree with Damoff here. I don't know if there's... It's a stretch to... It seems simplistic. Viersen's argument seems a little bit simplistic to me. And, you know, the term open secret has come out. We've heard those stories since we've been hearing the Me Too conversation has been going on, and even before that. But I also wonder, and why I'm bringing this up, if pornography has raised, and forgive me if I'm being prude or super uber conservative, I'm asking questions here, and I hope that these questions bring up some thought. If there's some unhealthy expectations about sex, if you look this way, then you will have sex. If you behave this way, then if you act this way as a man, then a woman will want you. And may sound silly, but, you know, there's certainly some sort of mentality around there that seems interesting. And we do have a lighthearted look at pornography. I mean, we have Howard Hughes, the Playboy Bunnies. We have top-viewed porn stars like Riley Reid, Jordi El Nino, Mia Khalifa, Aria. You even look at their pictures. They seem to make it fun, and it's lighthearted, and it's warm, and it's sex. It's okay. But there is an uncomfortable, dark part of this, an unhealthy side of this for some people. Not everybody. And even to the point that there's been, in some cases, an addicting side. And some may be thinking that this is a bit ridiculous, but I'm going to play a little bit of an interview. And this was a long time ago, and you can break down this argument in many ways, but I felt it to be relevant for here in some ways, just to bring up the point. And before I play this, I want to say that there are people that watch porn and are not impacted. It's, you know, whatever, and some are. I don't know when we can't. I'm not here to psychologically analyze this to you. But I do want to just play this a little bit for you, just because it's something interesting that he has brought up, and even the sites that I researched have also said the same thing. This isn't everybody, but this is Ted Bundy's story.
A young boy, and I mean a boy of 12 to 13, certainly, that I encountered outside the home again, in the local grocery store, or the local drugstore, the softcore pornography, what people call softcore. And it happened in stages, gradually. It doesn't necessarily, not to me at least, happen overnight. One should become addicted to it, and I look at this as a kind of addiction. Like other kinds of addiction, I would keep looking for more potent, more explicit, more graphic signs of it.
Yeah, that's just a part of what he said there. And again, I'm not saying that that's everybody. That was Ted Bundy's story, and I'm not saying that this excuses, because we're having this discussion on Twitter as well with a few people. This does not excuse what has happened here. And I don't think that And that's my problem with that argument that Viersen is presenting, because I don't think it's an excuse. We're not here to pat the abuser on the back and say it's okay, go on and, if you don't watch porn, everything will be okay. Because still, obviously, we still have that accountability. But at the same time, I wonder, with the amount of access to it right now, and again, forgive me if you think I'm being prudish, is it time to have a conversation about reducing this for minors? And I think that was his point. His point was, while I disagree with where he went, his point was bringing and discussing some barriers to that helps, that prevents that for underage children. When I was under the age of 18, I watched porn. I'm guilty of that. We looked at magazines. We watched some videos. And, I've turned out fine-ish. And you know what? Probably a lot of you watched and still watch, and you're fine. But at the same time, I'm not trying to age myself here, that the access and the options that were available when I was younger to now are much different, much broader. I'm not fear-mongering. It's just that the landscape is different. And that's something to me that when I was digging, it's like, it's interesting to look at that. Because we don't talk about it. We don't go on our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, our feed up with the latest porn that we're watching. It's not something that we share. It's not a conversation that we're having. But it's clearly from the stats from Pornhub, there are things, obviously, it's being watched. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. And then I guess in light of everything that we've discussed with the Me Too movement, what do you think? I would think that this is a bit of a stretch for Viersen, but do you think that this has had some sort of impact? And what conversations should we be having around porn now? I want to be careful, because I think some people are like, well, we're blaming the porn industry, and I don't necessarily think that we want to necessarily do that, because ultimately still it comes down to a person's choice. But what's the conversations we have with ourselves as adults? And what about the conversation that we have with teenagers? I'm curious of your thoughts. Again, maybe I'm a prude. I'm open to hearing both sides of this argument. I think it's an interesting discussion. On Facebook Live, Twitter at KEVOLE, Soundcloud at KEVOLE, Spreaker at KEVOLE, YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kevin Olenick, Instagram, KEVOL, Patreon, KEVOLE. And we'll just quickly look and see if there's any comments. If not, I'll try to respond after, doing some other things. Yes. I'm going to go here. Yeah, let me know what you think, and we will talk tomorrow. We have a very interesting conversation. I'm going to plug what we're doing tomorrow before I just pull up the comments here. I have an interview scheduled with a gentleman, a philosophy professor at Capilano University, Capilano College, Capilano University, about online debate. And so I think we're going to try to do this as a Facebook Live. We are actually going to take some of the debates that we've done on my Facebook page, and we're going to examine them. And we're going to have a conversation about that. And because it's such a hot, interesting idea now about that topic, so we're going to talk about that. We look forward to that tomorrow. And just read that. Just reading something here. Hey, Kev, this is a great cause for limitation of porn in general. I like words, so I just call it adult films and answer the question about minors. Has my life size because that's how they see her, resulting in some nasty Google images for a child on Google. I love psychology, and there's some amazing points as part of this movement of self-choices on adult content. Yes, and the website, I was looking at that website to fightthedrug.org. So, yeah, some interesting things. Let me know what you think. We will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.